on social media. My Instagram is at Emily Knutsson. Very simple. It's just my name. My name spelled Knuttsson. So Emily Knutsson.
All right, Emily. So the first question is that, first of all, welcome to the show. Um, it's an honor for us to have you in here with us. And the first question would be about a short film that you did, which is called Slow, which is about the world of dramatic art. So we would like you to tell us more about your experience working on that short film, and also to tell us a bit more about yourself, about your career as an actress, as an artist, amongst many other things.
Yeah, so I think the short film you guys are talking about, I think, is Slot, that I did with Hex Studios, which was really, really fun. It hasn't been released yet because it's coming out in an anthology series, but it is horror, which is always a really fun genre. For some reason, I tend to get cast in a lot of horror stuff. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the dark hair or something. They like to use me for stuff like that. And so I'll give a little bit away, but I can't give away too much because it hasn't come out yet. But it's quite dark, and it's about jealousy in the audition process. And so that one, it was really, really fun to film. I filmed it up in Scotland during my 4th year of studying, and it was awesome. It was really an amazing shoot. And I worked with Megan, who's over at Hex Studios, and Lori, and it was a really, really fun time because it was really experimental. We had really cool special effects makeup and things like that. And that was the first time, well, actually, I guess on all of my horror films, you usually get some pretty intense special effects makeup. And that one, there was a lot of blood and a lot of fake skin and all that. So it took hours to get off. I had a stained face for like 2 weeks.
And when is the release date for the short film? Do you have like an estimated time, maybe?
I'm not 100% because I know that they're also in production with a different short film that'll come out with that anthology set. I do know that if you want to see something else I've done that's a short film, I did my own short film a couple of years ago called No One to Nothing, and that's on my YouTube channel. So you guys can watch that. One's a period drama that I wrote, co-directed, and starred in. That was like a take on 1940s courtship, and I did that with a wonderful friend of mine at university, Benji, and my friend Bella Forshaw directed that with me. So if you guys want to see me in a short film right now, you guys can take a look on my YouTube channel.
That's pretty good. Well, upon checking on your profile, I see that you do a lot of things. You are an actress. You also are a dancer, a fighter as well, because we see that on that you practice a lot of kickboxing and martial arts, which is pretty awesome. So, what kind of genres do you enjoy working on the most, and what kind of genres would you like to work on in the future?
That's a good question. I think, like you said, I do a lot of dance, and I would say I would love to do a dance film in terms of, I would love to even do something based on ballet. I would need some to really up my training for a couple months to really, pull off like a prima ballerina role or something. But I feel most comfortable in dance and heels and stuff like that. So I'd love to do any sort of Fosse film, or, any sort of dramatic kind of theatery thing, as well as I'd love to do an action film because I absolutely love kickboxing, and I've gotten really, really into it, and martial arts. And I find it really, really therapeutic as well, like hitting stuff. And the kickboxing kind of falls in line with my dance background, because I've done kickboxing for the last couple of years, but I grew up as a dancer. And so it's kind of a natural extension of it. And just, a lot of it is a little bit different because you're turning in rather than out. But I did that in preparation, hopefully, for a film with action sequences or with, any sort of intensity when it comes to physical need, because it is such a huge space in the film world at this point. Everything seems to be an action movie or superhero movie and all that, and you really do need to have those skills in order to be considered for them.
Who inspired you to become what you are, to enter in the world of arts? Who was your biggest inspiration, or what was your biggest inspiration?
I think growing up, I always knew I was going to do acting. I was a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn when I was young, Golden Age Hollywood, Marilyn Monroe, Grace Kelly. Those were hugely influential on both my acting style and then my also taste in film. Like my short film, No One to Nothing, is kind of based off of like Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn. It's definitely inspired, as well as, gosh, I would have to just say classic films. And that's what I grew up watching. I also used to go to a lot of Broadway shows. My mom always took me because I grew up in New York, right outside the city. And so I really grew up engaging with a ton of theater and a ton of really amazing experimental art in New York City. And I think that really influenced how I view the artistic world.
Una historia que se llama Dragon Knight es sobre el tema de los sagos, ¿no? Es el tema de lo que es el arte de la guerra. Quisiera preguntarle sobre qué es lo que usted visualiza de estas películas a futuro, si le gustaría interpretar de pronto roles donde se evidencia un poco más la historia mítica de algún país en realidad o qué otra historia, no sé, ya sea en Grecia, pues que le gustaría interpretar algún rol femenino.
So we would like you to tell us more about a project called Dragon Knight. Tell us about your experience with it, and also like coming back to the whole action and martial arts and kickboxing and dance and stuff. What type of roles would you like to play in the future? If you want to be in something very much action related, or would you rather um, try and continue with your old Hollywood influences and go into more dramatic territory? Or perhaps if you just want to be like one project this, one project that, and become a very versatile artist, which we are seeing you now.
I working on Dragon Knight was amazing. I did that during COVID, right? God, I think it was like September, October, maybe even a little bit later, November of the kind of the 2020, the first COVID year. And it was an amazing indie film with Hex Studio, that horror studio. And I think the budget was about £100,000. And we shot in the middle of the woods in Fife, which is like right across the river from Edinburgh, right across over near St. Andrews. Because at the time I was studying history at the University of Edinburgh. So I was really excited to be in a medieval film because I'm a huge medieval nerd. I did my dissertation on medieval literature and magic. So this was definitely something that was right up my alley. I love period dramas. And so doing this film was really amazing. I had crazy, crazy makeup on. Like my whole skin was like blue and silver. I had these long nails that on my hands. The makeup artist was amazing on that. Her name was Hazel. She was absolutely amazing. And I think we shot from I think I arrived on set around 12 and I got in makeup, and I don't think we wrapped shooting until about 4 a.m. And I remember I was so cold because I was so cold in the woods, and but it was one of the best nights of my life. I love being on set. It brings me a joy like nothing else. So that was a really, really fun experience, although it was very cold and very wet in the Scottish woods. As well as, just future roles. I mean, I'm really attracted to period drama work. I've always had an interest in doing period drama. And then maybe a period drama with an action sequence or something like that would be super fun and bring in some skills. I feel like there's so many historical stories that have yet to be told and that you can do really, really fun stuff with. I also really, really would love to do Bond. I know that's a huge, huge ask, but I think I would I think I would love it just because I've also grew up watching James Bond, and I've always felt akin to those films, and they're so classic all through the eras up until today. They're always amazing. So yeah, I think those would be my two camps of things I would really, really like to do.
All right. Now that you mentioned Bond, James Bond, we are big fans of James Bond here. I hope to direct one Bond movie in the future, hopefully. So let me ask you, which is your favorite Bond movie?
I think I have to say two because I can't choose between them. I would say it's a tie between Live and Let Die and Casino Royale. I'll give those two. I love tarot cards and like mysticism and all the superstition. New Orleans is amazing. It's my favorite American city. So I would say Live and Let Die gets that. And then Casino Royale, because I also read the Bond books and I love that they actually were able to take on the first one and do an origin story, as well as Daniel Craig is fabulous. And Eva Green is probably my favorite actress working today. I absolutely love her. And the chemistry between those two is just electric in that film.
And is Eva Green's Vesper Lynd your favorite Bond girl, or which one is your favorite Bond girl?
I would say she's so, especially because they really take close to the source material in that one. They obviously change a few things, but she's incredible. She's so wonderful and she's so natural when you watch her act. As well as I love the Bond girl from Live and Let Die, Solitaire. She's the tarot reader. She's also fabulous.
That's great. ¿Qué otra pregunta tienes para Emily, Jhon?
Bueno, tengo para mí mi última, para que tú le digas, yo creo que el próximo proyecto, ¿no? Sería el último que tiene, pero yo le hablo sobre Ghost Creek, que es sobre la venganza. ¿Cómo usted ha visto en el pasar del tiempo esa evolución de la venganza en el cine y qué experiencia te llevas en esa historia?
So John's next and final question would be about a project named Ghost Creek, which is Ghost Crew.
Yes.
Ghost Crew. Yeah, sorry, Ghost Crew. And the central theme about it is vengeance. So, how have you noticed the evolution of vengeance in films? Like, how do you perceive that from an actress standpoint or an artist standpoint?
It's a good question. I mean, so I did Ghost Crew and that was wonderful. I played a character called Bethany, very bitchy office lady. And so, God, vengeance. I would say it's definitely shifted in recent years in terms of, I think women in film have gained more of a voice in the writing process. So I think you're seeing more authentic expressions of vengeance just simply because they are a little bit more in the writing room and kind of penning it. But at the same time, it's kind of such a classic theme that I don't know if it's changed that much in the last 5 centuries, in the last millennia, because if you look at ancient Greek myth, in Medusa and, the story of Medusa and Athena has the theme of vengeance kind of threads through even something like as simple as that and as old as that. Although I know in modern day Medusa's kind of had a renaissance as a figure. So I would say vengeance is kind of one of those universal themes like love, family, passion, betrayal. I think it doesn't really change as much as you think it is. And that's why it keeps existing in films, because it's kind of like a common thread we all refer back to.
And what's your favorite movie about vengeance?
Favorite movie about vengeance? It's a good question. Let me take a moment to think on that one. I can't think of a specific, but I like films that turn it on its head and someone seeking vengeance for something that didn't happen. And I mean, even the most recent Bond movie, No Time to Die, is all about vengeance, and it's always at what cost. Everyone dies at the end, and they no one really achieves what they wanted. So what was the point? So I'll give it to No Time to Die because I think that's the best vengeance movie. A lot of movies I tend to watch are, I don't know if I would call them strictly vengeance themed, because even like in a romantic story, you might want to get back at someone and date someone else, and you can call that a form of vengeance as well. Even like 500 Days of Summer, the whole movie is about him bitching about his, frustrated with his ex-girlfriend. So I'll give it to No Time to Die, I think, for that one.
All right. Now, we were checking on your profile, and we see a lot of projects coming up on your end. And first of all, congratulations, because it seems that every year you're like going up, up, and up. So hopefully your career in a few years goes way above the stratosphere. What projects are you working on right now, and when's the next time that we're going to see your presence on the big screen?
So I think the next project I was in that's releasing should be a really, really fun film I did with Fugitive Films down in London called Miss the Kiss. With like really amazing actors, a lot of like British classic actors from like EastEnders and Hollyoaks and the In-Betweeners. Like there's some really great people in that one. And so I would say Miss the Kiss is coming out. I play a prostitute in that one, which is very funny. And I should be working with in some more things. I should be filming some more things coming up in the summer that I don't know if I can talk about yet. But yes, so Miss the Kiss definitely will be coming out soon. Trying to think, what else have I done recently? It all kind of blurs together just because once you do the job, it's so intense, and then you just kind of move on to the next one, and there's such a separation between the two. I have a very small role in Indiana Jones 5, which will be out in the summer, which is awesome to do. One of the really, really fun experience on set. I'm one of Mr. Jones's students in that one. And there's a lot of really amazing stuff. And I've been doing theater in London lately. I've been in an immersive theater, which is just great in terms of keeping your skills sharp and not losing the ability to think on your feet and kind of improvise with the audience. So that's been really, really awesome as well. But yeah, most soon is Miss the Kiss with Fugitive Films.
And is there like an estimated release date for Miss the Kiss?
I think it's this month or next month. I could be absolutely crazy saying that, but I saw something posted soon, so I'll definitely. I think it's coming out this month.
Hopefully, we will be able to see it over here in Colombia because we're really intrigued about you and seeing your performing. Um, John, ¿qué otra pregunta le podemos hacer a Emily o ya le preguntamos por las redes sociales?
Puede ser que también sea, si alguna vez desea estar en Colombia, actuando, de pronto intentando, o qué tal usted ya también contratándola para algún corto o algo, no sé, puede pasar.
Sí, sería una chimba. All right. John's question would be, it's a really funny question, but would you like to come to Colombia one of these days and shoot something? Because that would be really awesome.
Gosh, I would. I mean, I would love to. I don't know if budget and scheduling would allow it, but it would be great for you guys to work with you guys. Do you only what type of projects have you guys worked on?
Well, I have worked on mostly short films, like genre short films. Jhon has done some short films as well, but he's mostly like doing interviews from his social networks. But yeah, I've worked on documentary television and short films, like mostly financed by me because the subjects that I like to talk about are very taboo over here in Colombia, which is something mainstream in Britain and the United States, but in here it's like I don't know. We are supposed to be the country of magical realism, but sometimes the people who have the money to finance these films, they prefer to be on the realism side and not so much the magical side. I don't know. They are party poopers, so to say.
Well, I never say no to a good role. So let's see if anything ever comes up that would make sense.
That would be really awesome. Now, I know that you cannot tell us that much about Indy 5 because obviously it hasn't come out yet. It's going to come up in a few months. But what can you tell us, at least just a little, what you can tell from your end? Because we don't want to cause any trouble with you and Disney. But what can you tell us about your experience working on that film?
I mean, I can say it was filmed in Scotland. So I was over in Glasgow, which was really fun. I didn't know Glasgow that well before we filmed, and I stayed right by the crowd base, and it was really great. It was funny because they made Scotland look like a different place. That's all I can really say, but they did make it definitely wasn't meant to be Scotland in the film. And I can say there's some really, really cool like stunts and stuff like that in it because there's definitely a lot of action sequences. And that the budget was just enormous. I mean, the place was crawling with people. It was just endless amounts of everyone running around. It was packed.
And is that the first big film that you have worked on?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the biggest one. Yeah, because I mean, how much bigger can you get?
And what was we're almost out of time, but what was that ship? How do you feel with that ship coming from more small independent projects to be like, even though it was just a short time, but to be in the set of one of the biggest movies produced by probably the biggest studio around today? How did you feel? Did it overwhelm you in a way, or it was like any other job?
I think it's brilliant. I think the bigger the project, the more fun I have because I love the energy of all the excitement. And I think that was like, honestly, the best couple of days I had on it. I was on it for about 2 weeks and it was so fun. I just had a blast. I was so excited to be around all this energy. I will say the interesting part with something like that is they have the time to get everything perfect because they reshot the same thing over and over and over and over and over again versus like the night I was on a horror film. Probably maybe the scene I did with Dragonite was maybe 3 minutes or something. And the Indiana Jones scene was probably only like 4 or 5 minutes. And the difference was like we shot the horror thing in one night in the woods in Scotland. And, it took 2 weeks to get the same amount of footage, the same amount of, screen time. So it's just the attention to detail on that level of budget is just crazy, and it really is amazing to watch pros really at work.
That's pretty awesome, Emily. Congratulations once again, and hopefully this will help you to get into even bigger and more awesome projects. Así que, John, Le pido
Salud.
ya una vez las redes sociales y los
Dale.
saludos.
Exacto. Las redes, salud y la foto.
Listo. So, three last things before we go. First of all, send a big hello to Colombia and your future fans over here, because I have no doubt that you're going to have some fans over here in Latin America. Second of all, where can we find you on social media? And the last thing is that we're going to take a picture over here to keep as a souvenir.
Hi, Colombia. I'm so excited to be on this interview, and I hope you guys like my work in acting, dancing, singing, and all that. And if you want to see more of my work, you can find me on social media. My Instagram is at Emily Knutsson. Very simple. It's just my name. My name spelled Knutsson. So Emily Knutsson.
Thank you so much, Emily, once again for this wonderful time. And we're
Thank
going
you
to
for having me.
it was an honor, really. It was an honor. So let's take a picture together. And
Emily, gracias por la oportunidad. Muy amable, bienvenida siempre y espero mucho éxito en estas nuevas entregas.
so Jhon is saying that thank you once again for being here. Thank you for your kindness and your words. And you will always be welcome on this show. And thanks once again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. And it was an honor to meet you guys and absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. It was the honor was ours. Take care. Bye.
Go
Have a
with.
good one.
Bye bye.